Hi, this is Art Lieberman, and I want to talk today about metabolism. And basically, whenever I talk about weight loss, in fact, when I want to talk about just about anything, I always want to know how to do it simply. I'm not the guy that wants the most, all little tiny crazy steps. I want simple. And so I want to talk about 3 simple ways that I've boosted my metabolism. I'm making the word simpler too, metabolism this year. So let's look at a few. And there are more than this, but I just want to deal with 3 today. That's metabolism right there. That's my picture of metabolism. Your body burning fat and doing it efficiently. Okay. So first is intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is the keystone to my weight loss. I don't want to call it the most important because I'm not sure about that. All I know is that when I started intermittent fasting, the weight started coming off. And here's what that looked like for me at first. Really, it was skipping breakfast and eating dinner at the earliest possible moment. Those 2 things came hand in hand. Skipping breakfast, eating dinner at the earliest possible moment. So what that was like for me, I'm a classroom teacher right now. And that's why I'm wearing a beanie today, because I'm actually recording this in my classroom on a Saturday, and the heat is off, so it's cold. And so what that means is lunchtime happens at exactly the same time every day. And I know your life might not be like that, but mine is. So literally at 11:37, I walk my students to the cafeteria. I teach 7th grade. And then I turn around, go back to my classroom and eat lunch. So that means around 11:40, I start eating lunch, okay? If I'm going to eat that day. If I'm going to eat lunch that day, I'm going to say, I'm going to eat that day most likely. But am I eating lunch? That's a whole different question. So, and then what I did is I wouldn't eat dinner, or I would eat dinner around 5 o'clock. Sometimes it would be 5:30, sometimes it would be 6. So I was doing 18 hours of fasting, 6 hours, where my window, they call this the eating window, would be open. And well, now that window's shorter. A lot of times I don't ever eat until 2:30 because I have a break at 2:30, and I find that I'm not ready to eat at lunchtime. And then I still eat that early dinner. But, once or twice a week, I like to do something else. I like to just go all the way to dinner. And I'm a little hungry those last few hours, but, hunger's not an emergency. And something I thought of, and here's why it's not an emergency. Because of this. I'm not calling it intermittent fasting anymore, except for when I have to. I'm calling it intermittent feasting. Because literally, when I eat dinner, I feast. I eat until I can't put another bite of food in. Now, this particular picture probably isn't very representative of what I eat, because I don't eat the carbs, the fried food and that stuff. But and I don't eat rice and grain, and you see some of those things. But I eat meat, and I eat vegetables. I eat nuts, and I eat some fruit, even though there's carbs in the fruit. I just think fruit offers some things that are hard to get in other ways. So I do those. So it's intermittent feasting. And I love this because this puts the emphasis where it needs to go. I'm not going to starve. I'm not going to eat these tiny little 500 calorie meals. I'm going to eat until I am full every time I eat, unless I'm just doing a quick break of my fast. I'm not going to call it break fast because that sounds like breakfast, but and I don't eat breakfast usually. So what happens with this is your metabolism just jumps up. And when I say intermittent feasting, I'm talking about I eat chocolate every day, like about a quarter of a chocolate bar. The good stuff, the 85% stuff, maybe 70%, sometimes as high as 90 or 95%, if I'm really feeling crazy. In other words, that's what we have in the house. But I do that every day and I lose weight. I eat nuts almost every day, cashews, peanuts, almonds, and pecans. Those are my big ones. I eat meat just about every day, sometimes a lot of meat. Yeah. And I'm talking, when I say a lot, I'm talking 6 or 8 ounces. I'm not talking 12 ounces. But for some people, that would be perfectly appropriate. Let's move right along. What else can we do to stoke our metabolism? First is intermittent feasting. Lay off the food and then once a day, eat big. Okay, gratitude and cortisol. Let's talk about those two things. So studies have shown, by the way, I'm going to provide you a link at the end of this that show the science behind all this, and you can go there and check it out and then know that I'm just not making this stuff up. But this is all stuff I've done. So I keep a journal every day where I write down what I'm grateful for. And I looked around for a picture of a guy doing this because when you look up the word gratitude, it's all real girly looking stuff. And that's good. I mean, nothing wrong with that. But you start getting the idea that gratitude is a girly thing, and it is not. I'm here to tell you it is a manly thing. And if you want to be a real man, I'm getting off task here, you've got to be grateful. And if you will write down how you're grateful every day, your cortisol level will drop. Now, that's science. I didn't figure that out. Scientists figured that out. And they figured out that you can drop it by as much as 23%. And why is that important? Because cortisol is often called the stress hormone. And what it does is it says to your body, oh, we got to get ready for something dangerous. So eat something because you might not get to eat for a while. Pack on some weight because you might be starving for a while. Your body gets ready for danger. Now, the way our bodies are supposed to use this is that once in a while we get hit with a shot of cortisol, and because we're going to need it, and we prepare. But what Americans so often do right now is they get stuck with the cortisol switch on high, and it's like spiking. That's what we call getting stressed out, and you wear out your adrenals. Doing that. So we need to calm that down. And if you will write down 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for every day, you're going to lower that cortisol and you're going to lose weight. When cortisol levels drop, you lose weight. Now, yes, there are things that you can take, supplements and stuff that supposedly lower cortisol. Forget that business. That costs money. That's a pain. You got to figure out to go buy it again and all that. And besides, ultimately, you don't know what that crap is doing to you. Just write it down. And if you're not grateful for anything, give me a holler on Facebook and let's talk about it. And I'll get back to you. Okay. And the last point, this is the third point, is log it to lose it. And the research also shows, and this is what I do every day, is I write down my weight on a spreadsheet. Now, people are all over the map on whether you should do this daily or not. And some people say they don't and they lose weight just fine. Good for them, okay? But for me, I got to write it down every day because I got to know what's going on. And the research backs me up too. Now, I'm not saying those other people are wrong because in every research, there are people that are the outliers and they're outside of the general group of people. And if they log it every day, they will gain weight. Okay. Why? Because that spikes their cortisol probably. Oh no, look at what happened. So my little inner mantra is that's data. Okay. All that is data. And to help me deal with that data, I do a 3-day average and a 7-day average. That sounds hard, I know, but on a spreadsheet, it's easy. It literally takes me a few seconds to open up the spreadsheet. I've pre-formatted the spreadsheet. That took me a minute. Okay, a few minutes to do. And so the averages just calculate for me. And that 3-day average is really important to me because I want to see that going down. If it goes up by one little tick, and I look at it at tenth of a pound, if it goes up by a tick, that's, I'm not going to worry. And then what I also do is, the cool thing about the spreadsheet is I can look at the month before. I can just glance over to the month before and I can immediately see whether my weight is dropping or not from the month before. And that's where I'm really interested. And I can glance up at my 7-day and see if week by week it's dropping. And what I like to do is at best, I like to lose 4 or 5 pounds a month. Except for when I was first starting. When I was first starting, it dropped like a weight, because some of that's water weight and your body's just going, wow, you're doing something different. That's what I think was going on. So let's move along. So log it to lose it. That's not actual pounds up there. That's just an image I found. Okay. So before I go to this, you can look at that for a second if you want to write it down. This is where you can get the links to the research. So here's the thing. All of these are easy. Yes, the intermittent fasting is easy. It's easier than any other kind of diet. And you can combine diets with it. A lot of people combine the keto and the paleo diets with intermittent fasting. And there's all kinds of guys out there that tell you intermittent fasting is bunk, and they are wrong. It is not. What they are probably doing is promoting some product. And a lot of these lists still talk about you got to eat breakfast. No, you don't. There is no good solid research behind that. That's just something the breakfast companies made up one day, in my opinion, and other people have run with it. So try it yourself if you don't believe me. I mean, you're the scientist of your body ultimately. So. And someone might say, well, what about you, Lieberman? You're making money too. Yeah, I make money too. But look, I'm a middle school teacher. And so I write a few books to help out. And I'm not a millionaire yet, nor anywhere close. Though I wouldn't hurt my feelings if that changed, especially if it changed by helping thousands of people figure out how to get healthy. And that would be cool. So anyway, all of this is easy. Intermittent fasting is easier than eating 3 meals a day and snacks. Think about that for a second. This is easier than what you were doing, and it gives you back more time, and it gives you back money. It is cheaper, and you get more time. One of the hardest things about intermittent fasting is, what are you going to do with the extra time? Seriously, that's a pain. What are you going to do? And it is a pain at first because you are used to eating. That is your norm. It is a social thing with you. And so what you do with the extra time, you start doing that stuff you want to do. You do the fun activities. You read the books. You watch that movie that you've been wanting to get around to. You call somebody up on the phone you haven't talked to in 5 years because you haven't had the time. You make the list. You get out and throw a ball. You go play basketball with your buddies. These are the things that all of a sudden come back to you. What you don't do is stuff that's going to stress you out. Okay, that's the only thing I'm going to ask is don't do that stuff because then the weight's not going to come off. Okay, and that's what we're after. So there you have it. No, there you don't have it. 2 more things. So is writing down a gratitude journal easy? Yeah, it literally takes me 30 seconds. Some days do I get stuck on what am I going to be grateful for? Maybe a little bit. And sometimes what I write down feels a little trite. But if trite is what I have on that day, that's what I write and I feel it. I feel the gratitude and it feels good. And I'll write a few other things, but I'm not saying you got to write anything else. I mean, just start with this because this is what the research shows. This works. And then write down your weight. We're talking about stuff that is going to give you time, not take it away. All right. So you can get the links at artsleberman.com/FB Metavid. That stands for Facebook. What are we talking about? See, sometimes I get a little brain fog right there. We are talking about metabolism. That's what it is. Yeah, I knew it would come back to me. So that's what the meta stands for, and vid is video. Facebook, meta, vid. And bless you. Have a great day. And we